Go and look in your laundry cupboard. If there's a bottle of fabric softener in there, that's the first thing on this list, and you can stop buying it today. You won't find it in most Scandinavian homes, and not for any noble reason. It simply doesn't do what people think it does. Fabric softener works by coating the fibers in a thin, waxy film. That film is what makes things feel soft, and it is also what stops a towel absorbing water, which is the only job a towel has. It builds up in the machine as well, and a good deal of the smell people blame on their washing machine is sitting in the drawer they put the softener in. White vinegar in the same drawer softens without coating anything. A big bottle costs less than one small bottle of softener and lasts most of a year. That's number 15. There are 14 more, and they get bigger. Before we start, one thing about what this list is not. It isn't frugality. Nobody here is proud of being cheap, and plenty of people I know spend a great deal of money. It also isn't minimalism, which is mostly a look, and usually an expensive one. It's one instinct, and it runs underneath every single item on this list. I'll name it properly at number 2. I'm Ingrid. I grew up just outside Gothenburg, and I'll tell you now that 5 of these are sitting in your kitchen right this minute. 4 of them are things you were taught were sensible, careful purchases. And number 1 explains all 14 above it, so stay for that if you stay for nothing else. One thing before we get into it. The Nordic habits I cover on this channel, there's far too much of it to fit into any single video. So I've put the whole of it in one place, 150 of them, sorted by room and by rhythm. It's on my site, link right under this video. I won't bring it up again. If you want it, you know where it is. Number 14. Bottled water. Nordic tap water is held to a standard that makes buying it in plastic faintly absurd, and it's treated that way. There's a deposit system on bottles and cans here, called pant. You pay a little extra, you feed the empties into a machine at the supermarket, you get it back. It works so well that leaving a bottle in a bin feels like dropping money on the floor. What it replaces is a running cost with no ceiling. Bottled water is the only thing on this list you can buy every week for 30 years and end up exactly where you started. Your test. Work out what your household spends on bottled water in a month, then multiply it by 12. Most people have never once done that arithmetic. Number 13. Kitchen roll for everything. Not for everything. There's a roll in most Nordic kitchens, but it's for the genuinely unpleasant jobs, and that's all. Everything else is cloth. Wiping a counter, drying hands, mopping a spill, cleaning a window. A stack of cotton or linen cloths lives by the sink, they go in the wash with the towels, and they last years. What it replaces is a product you buy, use once, and throw away, roughly 200 times a year. Your test. Put a folded cloth beside your sink tonight, and see how many times you reach past the roll for it by Sunday. Number 12. Air fresheners and plug-ins. This one is a small point of genuine bafflement. A plug-in air freshener is a device that costs money forever in order to put a smell on top of another smell. Homes here deal with the actual cause. Windows wide open for 10 minutes, even in winter, even in the dark. It's called stötvädring, shock ventilation, and it exchanges the stale air without cooling the walls, so the room warms back up in minutes. Then the damp cloth in the kitchen gets changed, because a cloth used for 4 days will make a spotless kitchen smell wrong. What it replaces is a permanent subscription to covering something up. Your test. Open every window in the house wide for 12 minutes tomorrow morning, then walk back in from outside. Number 11. Extended warranties. The ones pushed at you at the till, in the last 30 seconds, when you've already decided to buy. 2 reasons they don't sell here. Consumer law across this part of Europe already gives you a long statutory guarantee, so a good deal of what's being sold is something you already have. And when you've bought one well-made thing, rather than 3 cheap ones, the anxiety those policies are designed to sell simply isn't there to sell to. What it replaces is paying to insure against a decision you made carelessly. Make the decision carefully, and the policy has nothing to do. Number 10. Bagged salad and pre-cut fruit. A bag of leaves costs several times what a whole lettuce costs, weighs a fraction of it, and turns to liquid in the drawer by Thursday. Everyone has thrown one of those away. Everyone. A whole cabbage costs almost nothing, weighs over a kilo, and keeps for a month. What it replaces is paying a premium for someone else to have done 10 seconds of knife work, and then throwing away most of what you paid for. Your test. Next shop, buy the whole version of one thing you normally buy pre-cut. Just one. Number 9. A cleaning product for every surface. Go and open the cupboard under your sink and count the bottles. Most people find somewhere between 8 and 15. Nearly all of them are one of 3 things in different packaging: an acid, an alkali, or a soap. White vinegar handles limescale, glass, and hard water. Bicarbonate of soda handles grease and anything baked on. Washing up liquid handles the rest. That's most of the cupboard gone. Here's the honest truth, and I respect you too much to dress it up. You are mostly buying the bottle and the scent. Your test. Count them tonight. Then look at the back of 3 and see how many share the same active ingredient. Number 8. Storage boxes, bought before deciding what stays. I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. A box bought to tidy a room is almost always a way of postponing a decision you haven't made. The order matters. Decide what leaves first, then buy the container for what's left, if you still need one. Most people find they don't. What it replaces is the 4 boxes on your shelf right now that are full of things nobody in the house could name. Number 7. Clothes bought for one season. Sweden went as far as cutting the tax on clothing and shoe repairs, specifically to make mending cheaper than replacing. That tells you what the culture already believed. The wardrobe here is smaller than you'd expect, and older than you'd expect. Things are bought slowly, worn for years, and repaired when they go. A visible mend on a jumper is not embarrassing. If anything, it's slightly admired. What it replaces is a wardrobe you're always adding to and never finishing. Now, before we go on, I want you to notice what the last 7 things have in common, because it isn't money. Every one of them is something you buy repeatedly to avoid doing something once. Softener instead of vinegar. Kitchen roll instead of a cloth. Air freshener instead of opening a window. A box instead of a decision. A new jumper instead of a mend. None of these are expensive purchases. That's exactly why they survive. They're small enough that you never sit down and add them up, and they arrive every month for the rest of your life. Keep that in mind, because the last 6 are the big ones. Quick pause before we get to them. Everything in this video is section 7 of the guide, on what to stop buying. There are 9 sections, and the one people actually write to me about is the 3rd, on letting things go. It's linked below. Number 6. The newest phone every release. The phone works. That's usually the whole of the argument here. There's no social cost to being a version behind. Nobody looks, nobody comments, and there's no conversation about it, because a phone is a tool, and tools are judged on whether they work. What it replaces is a payment that never ends, for a device that was already sufficient the year before. Number 5. Furniture designed to last 3 years. The upfront cost is higher and the sum is lower. A chair bought once at 40 is cheaper than 4 chairs bought at 15, and you only carry it home once. The thinking is simple. Buy the last one you'll need and be willing to wait to afford it. Half the furniture in my parents' flat is older than I am, and none of it is precious. It's just still working. Your test. Think of one thing in your house you've replaced 3 times. That's the thing to buy properly next time. Number 4. Take away coffee out of habit. Not never, just not by default, and not while walking. There's a word here, fika, and it doesn't mean a coffee break. It means you stop. You sit down, you have something warm, and you're not doing anything else. A cup carried through a train station in a paper cup isn't a worse version of that. It's a different thing entirely, and it costs several pounds a day. What it replaces is a daily purchase that you rarely remember having. Number 3. A second car. Where cycling and public transport actually work, a second car is a large sum of money depreciating on a driveway for the 4 trips a week it makes. I'll be honest, that this one depends entirely on where you live, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But it's worth asking the question properly, with the insurance and the tax and the fuel written down, rather than assuming. Number 2. Anything with a large visible logo. Now the instinct, and it has a name, Janteloven, the law of Jante. It comes from a novel written in 1933, but the idea long predates the book, and it says roughly this: You are not to think you are anything special. In practice, it means a strong discomfort with visibly displaying what you have. A logo on a bag isn't a design choice. It's a signal, and here that particular signal reads as a small social embarrassment rather than an aspiration. It isn't that people reject nice things. My mother has a leather bag she's had for 20 years, and it cost more than she'd like to admit. It has no writing on it. What it replaces is paying a premium for the part of an object that only works when someone else is looking. Number 1. Anything bought to fix a feeling rather than a problem. I've saved this for last because it's the one underneath all 14. Think about when the storage box actually gets bought, not when you've measured a shelf. It gets bought on a Saturday afternoon when the house feels like too much, and the box is a way of feeling like you've dealt with it. The air freshener is bought when a room feels stale. The new jumper when the week has been hard. The upgrade when you're bored. None of those are purchases. They're moods with a receipt. And here's why every other item on this list eventually comes back without this one. You can quit softener and kitchen roll and bagged salad, and if the underlying habit is still buying your way out of a feeling, 15 new things will quietly take their place inside a year. I won't inflate this for you. There's no product for it and no clever trick. It's just a pause. When you're about to buy something, ask what specifically it's for. If you can't answer in one plain sentence, it's a feeling. Now, I want to say something about why nobody taught you any of this. Look back at the first 7 things. Softener, kitchen roll, air fresheners, warranties, bagged salad, cleaning sprays, fast fashion. Every one is a product you buy again next month. That's not an accident, and it isn't a conspiracy. It's simply that the most valuable product a company can sell is one that runs out. A cloth you use for 4 years earns somebody nothing. A roll of paper you throw away earns them 52 purchases a year, forever. So nobody advertises the vinegar. There's no campaign for the cloth by the sink, and there never will be, because there's no second sale in it. The things on this list aren't hidden from you. They're just the only things in the shop with nobody paid to mention them. It isn't that you've been careless. You've been marketed to, competently, for your whole life, by people who were very good at it. So here's what I want you to do this week. Not all 15. Pick the 2 that are already in your house, and just don't replace them when they run out. That's it. Nothing to buy, nothing to organize, nothing to start on Monday. And tell me 2 things below. Which one of these 15 is sitting in your house right now? And what's the thing you buy every month that you've genuinely never added up? I read every one of these. Half of what I know now came out of that comment section. Next time I'm taking number 9, the cupboard under your sink, and showing you the 4 things that replace almost everything in it, with the actual measurements. Until then, don't throw anything out, just don't replace the next 2. Och som alltid. Vi ses nästa gång.